by God and the Premanande. Hari Hari Bo. Okay, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome. So today we are discussing Bhagavad Gita chapter 11, verse number 9. Please, who would like to start the realizations can start. Others can join in after that. Please feel free. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today with the verse is Bhagavad Gita chapter 11, verse 9. Sanjaya uvacha evam uktva tato rajan mahayogeshvaro harihi darshayam asaparthaya paramam rupam aishvaram. Sanjaya uvacha evam uktva tato rajan mahayogeshvaro harihi darshayam asaparthaya paramam rupam aishvaram. Sanjaya uvacha evam uktva tato rajan mahayogeshvaro harihi darshayam asa parthaya paramam rupam aishwaram. What's synonyms? Translation: Prabhupada ki jai. Sanjaya uvacha, Sanjaya said, evam, thus, uktva, saying, tataha, thereafter, rajan, O king, Mahayoga Ishvaraha, the most powerful mystic, Harihi, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, Darsayam Asa, showed, Parthaya, unto Arjuna, Paramam, the divine, Rupam Aishvaram, universal form. Translation: Prabhupada ki jai. Sanjaya said, O king, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. So, from the word to the synonyms, the word that struck out to me was Maha Yoga Ishvaraha, the most powerful mystic.
Purport. Krishna's purport.
There's no purport for
Yep.
11.9.
Just read the before one.
The purport for 11.8?
Yeah. How big is the purport?
For 11.8, it's pretty good. Pretty big.
Okay. This one. Okay. Continue.
Okay. No purport. So for 11.9, there's no purport. But with all the points that we have discussed so far, we can understand that this the nature of Lord Krishna is very mystical, and the nature of the devotees of Lord Krishna, the pure devotees of Lord Krishna, is also very special. As we have discussed, that Arjuna do not actually need nor do not want to see the universal form. In fact, devotees of the Lord are very attracted to the two-handed form of Lord Krishna, to the extent that they even forget that they are engaged in pastimes with God or Lord Krishna. They view, the coward boys of Raj viewed Lord Krishna as a friend, and forgot, or did not understand that Krishna was the Supreme Lord. Yashoda Mata, we know the story regarding Yashoda Mata as well. So, and the gopis as well, of course, with their topmost devotional service, also did not treat Lord Krishna as God, nor did they, take that, or nor did they, in fact, believe it, which is very interesting. And as I mentioned last week, that this personal understanding and this personal aspect of the Lord is what is ultimately required, and was ultimately what we take back when we're at the time of death. This is where we want to go, and this is missing from impersonal philosophy. They would focus on the universal form, but as Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the last verse, that the devotees are not they're not interested in a godless display of opulence. The whole objective is pure love of Lord Krishna. So this is a very, very interesting chapter, because it highlights the difference between bhakti yoga and other schools of thought, which which have been pervading for a long time. And as we also said, that Lord Krishna gives the divine eyes by which we can see the universal form. So we cannot just we cannot speculate. Speculation is very easy to do, but we cannot speculate on the universal form of Lord Krishna, nor the qualities. That's why we read the scriptures, and that is why Lord Krishna showed the form to Arjuna, to dispel any doubt of Lord Krishna's position, but also our position, within the whole creation. So many multifaceted, reasons as to why this pastime occurred. And Sanjay also narrating it and being able to see, being given the vision of the battlefield. All of these are very, very important things. And here we are today, thanks to Srila Prabhupada, in which Srila Prabhupada wrote these books, and that we can now understand the universal form. And people back then, 5,000 years ago, may not have understood in the way that we are able to dissect and analyze now. So that is the mercy of pure devotees, and that is why this philosophy that Srila Prabhupada is giving us in the form of these books are very, very important for lifetimes and generations. So that is my realization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Amrish Prabhuji, for organizing these classes. And thank you, Krishna Samarpan Krishna Prabhuji, for your very nice realization on this verse. So this verse today, Sanjay Vacha Eva Muktva Tato Rajan Mahayogeshwaro Harihi Darshayam Asa Parthaya Paramam Rupam Aishwaram. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Sanjay said, O king, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. So, as the chapter's name is the universal form of Krishna, and then we are just studying it. Then Krishna is now, because Krishna has previously told Arjuna that now you can see the universal form which you desired. And now Krishna is now fulfilling Arjuna's desire and showing him his universal form. So in the previous verse, Krishna also gives Arjuna divine eyes so that he can see Krishna's mystic opulences. Krishna is called Mahayogeshwar here because no one can show anything like this, and no one has shown before because no one has power to show universal form. And Arjuna can see whatever he desires to see in Krishna's body. That's what Krishna says, in past, present, future, anything, whatever he desires. So we have heard that some yogis with their severe penances can get Ashtasiddhis, but Krishna is the Lord of all mystic powers, which no one can actually achieve. It's impossible for anyone, be it any demigods or human beings or anyone, because he is the source of everything, and everything comes from Krishna. So it's impossible to get these powers. As we have discussed in previous verses, that a devotee never wants to see Krishna's universal form because a devotee has a loving relationship with the Lord, and he always wants to serve him. There are 5 types of rasas devotees can serve Krishna, and devotees want to be in those rasas and serve him. So Krishna's personal Shyam Sundar form is the most desired form which a devotee wants. Our goal of life is to love Krishna, and universal form is the ghastly form, which is very fearful, and it doesn't invoke love for Krishna. So we can't serve him because this is impersonal form as well, and the goal of life is not this that we just realize this universal form, but always we want some shant Shyam Sundar form which gives us pleasure, which gives us bliss, and we have personal relationship with Krishna. So that is the goal of a devotee's life. That's what one wants. Arjuna has just requested Krishna to show this form, just in case people who pose themselves as Krishna, they can come. There are people who can pose them that they are the personality of Godhead, but so Arjuna has requested Krishna so that Krishna has shown the universal form, and this is the test. If someone says that he is God, can he show this his universal form? So also as Guru can open disciples' eyes with the torch of knowledge. So because we have got blunt senses, but they are sharpened when a spiritual master actually gives his mercy, and then he makes a disciple to see Krishna, because all these beautiful verses, if we read by ourselves, we can't get the essence of it. But when devotees or spiritual master explains them, like Srila Prabhupada has explained very nicely, everything crystal clear for us, still we can't understand the essence of it. But in the association of the devotees, when we discuss all these verses, and then we understand the meaning of it, the true meaning. what we are trying to achieve. So that is my realization for this verse. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna devotees. Thank you, Amrish, for organizing. Thank you, Amrish, His Grace, Krishna Samarpan, Krishna Prabhu, and His Grace Panpage Mataji, for organizing and giving us opportunity to share our realization on the Bhagavad Gita verses. And thank you, all the devotees, for your very nice realization. So, this verse, chapter 11, verse 9. Sanjaya Uvacha Ebam Yuktva Tato Rajan Mahayogeshwaro Hari Darshayamasa Parthaya Paramam Rupam Aishwaram. Sanjay said, O king, having spoken thus, the supreme lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. So there is no purport given by Srila Prabhupada. So I was just meditating on the verse of the concept. As devotees already shared, this is just continuation from the previous verses where there's a discussion between Arjuna and Lord Krishna, where Arjuna is requesting to see Krishna's impersonal form. So Srila Prabhupada has very nicely explained why Arjuna wanted to see that form and what was his actually objective to see that. And also, Srila Prabhupada made it very clear in the previous verse that actually pure devotees, they are not interested in the universal form. They are only interested in his Krishna's original form, that is a Sham Sundar form. And because they can have a loving relationship with with the original form, but with this actually ghastly universal form is very frightening. And Srila Prabhupada said that you cannot have actually a loving relationship, established with this form. So in this verse, actually, as Krishna is referred as Mahayogeshwaro, Mahayogeshwar. So Krishna is actually Lord of all the powerful mystic yogis. So as Saraswati Mataji also actually shared this point, was meditating on this similar point on this here, that Krishna is actually the greatest mystic, is a Yogeshwar, and even this universal form is very mystical. In the actually next verses, I think it has been described. We also heard, in previous lectures as well about the universal form, that it has many mouths, many eyes. The living entities are being born, they are being again, they are dead, and everything is actually going on. It's very frightening and it's very, very mystical. Even the yogis who wanted to achieve various mystical power, Ashtasiddhis. So even it may sound materially very powerful, but still is material. Just like even Krishna is the greatest mystic, and his universal form is the most mystical one. Still, still is material. It's inferior form. So no doubt, all these Ashtasiddhis are also material, and they are very inferior as well. So that is actually point. Actually we realize, because it's very initially it's very easy to get attracted to this universal form because it's very mystical, and especially even actually when I actually spoke to, I think, some people in India when there was a discussion, they actually find it very fascinating, Krishna's universal form. But the original form is actually is the most important form of Krishna. That if you want to be actually progress on the path of devotion, that is a form that we have to meditate on, as Srila Prabhupada actually mentioned many times in previous verses. So yeah, that is what I realized, Prabhuji, from this actually translation. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for organizing this program. Thank you all the devotees for sharing your very nice realizations. Jai. Sanjaya uvacha evam yuktva tata rajan tato rajan mahayogeshwaro harihi darshayam asha parthaya paramam rupam aishwaram. So in this verse, Sanjaya refers to Lord Krishna as Mahayogeshwar, the Lord of all yogis, where Krishna displayed his divine and opulent form to Arjuna. The cosmic form of God is replete with the manifestation of his opulence, and it invokes fear, awe, and reverence in the beholders. But to see this divine opulence, we need divine vision, and it's not visible to the material eyes. That's why the material souls cannot recognize the God if the God comes in as an avatar. The physical eyes are insufficient to see the universal form, and the ordinary intellect is inequipped to comprehend this. And after that, I realized that the granting of spiritual vision is an act of the grace by the Supreme Lord, and only by the grace of God adds his divine eyes to the soul's material eyes, adds his divine mind to the soul's material mind, and adds his divine intellect to the soul's material intellect. And then, equipped with the divine senses, mind, and intellect of God, the soul can see his divine form and think of it and comprehend it. So in this verse, I actually realized that to see Krishna's opulence form, we have to, purify our soul and to try to make it as a divine soul, to understand and to see Krishna's not the material, but the universal form. So that's how in this verse, Arjuna explained that even he was unable to see Krishna's universal form. He was only able to see the material form. But as Krishna, presented himself and opened his eyes, and so that he can see the divine form of Krishna, not the material. So that's what I realized. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Okay, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Just let me know if you can't hear me well. Okay? The microphone is not clear enough. Let me know. Thank you very much for your nice realizations. Thank you, Sanjeev Prabhu, for giving us the intimation of the verses. We can prepare accordingly. So here, universal form may be inferior form of Krishna, but still it is mentioned here it is divine, Paramam. And it is called Aishwaram, all opulences are there. So any form of Krishna is divine and is full of opulences. So Sanjay said, O king, speaking thus, the Supreme Lord, the Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Now, generally speaking, whenever there are no purport, devotees tend to read the translation and move to the next translation, where there is purport, and they speak on the translation with the purport. So I told them why like this. It is a general rule. Nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly all right. Because Acharya, when Acharya gives a purport, then we have to understand the purport and speak on the purport. Follow the parampara of the Acharya. That is perfectly right. And I requested them that, okay, but in the same way, when we cannot skip the verses and go to the next verse, the translation. Translation is given here by the Acharya. And we have studied so many different verses which have got similar meanings. Or we can find out some deeper meanings. And we can give a realization based upon those purports of the Acharya. So that's why we don't skip this thing. We speak on that verse also with the translation too, but that's the God's mercy of Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Hopefully they'll accept our devotional service. So bhakti cannot be restricted in any way, shape, and form. You can expand bhakti as much as you want to expand bhakti. It is up to us. There is no limit to our expansion of bhakti. And Krishna decides whether to accept our bhakti or not. Nobody else can decide this. Others can guide you, others can guide us. But even then, Krishna decides whether to accept our bhakti or not. So, this universal form is a form where one has to train one's eyes, one has to train one's ears, one has to train one's thinking to see the universal form of Krishna. Like when we see rivers, we think, oh, these are the veins of Krishna's universal form in oceans. When we see trees and plantations, we we have to train and visualize to say these are the hairs of Krishna's body, universal form body. When we see the clouds in the sky, we see the hairs of Krishna. And we discussed last week from the 10th canto with Akrura, with Akrura Maharaj, these realizations on the universal form. So, universal form, that is the reason why people who are at the beginning stage, they are attracted to universal form because it is complicated. One requires efforts to be done. One requires to utilize one's brain, spend time, and fail. After failing, one tries again to see Krishna's universal form and again fail. So generally people like to fail and see only if it is difficult, it must be good. This is our mental psychology. If it is costly, then it must be good. If it is free, it will not be good. But Krishna's form, everybody sees the three bending form of Shyama Sundar playing on his flute. And people say, oh, but he is as good as demigods. He is as good as me. Why is he dancing with other people's wives? Why is he dancing around? Why does God dance? Why God is not doing some work, etc., etc. And then when he speaks of Bhagavad Gita, people say, why is he speaking so complicated? So when Krishna is speaking personally, in his personal form, which is readily available, we'll reject it because it's available. You don't have to do anything extra. When we hear Krishna's pastimes, that is the purpose of the pastimes. So it attracts those with whom he has performed pastimes, and he attracts those who are hearing the pastimes. He does both things. And that's why Paritranaya Sadhunam is very important. The first point, to attract the devotees. Non-devotees are not bothered. Krishna does pastimes, doesn't do pastimes, they are busy in their own life. But Krishna devotees are very bothered. Kathayantascha mam nityam. Parasparam. They always are discussing. Constantly discussing amongst themselves. And I give the intelligence by which they come to me, he says. When he's satisfied, he says, then buddhi yogam tam. I give the intelligence by they come to me. So Krishna reserves the right to whom he wants to bestow his devotional service. So that's why the universal form is a difficult form to gather, to fathom. One has to think, contemplate, keep a cool mind. Whereas Krishna's personal form, where he's playing with cowherd boys, when he's taking the cows and calves for grazing in the forests, it's a nomadic life. Of course, they're based in one city, one village. So it's not nomad in a way, but it's a forest life. That Vrindavan, it's a forest. Krishna lived in the forest. He never lived in the cities. Of course, he went to Mathura. From Madhupuri, it is called in Sanskrit, Madhupuri to Mathura, Puri, and then to Dwarika, Puri. But his fame was everywhere. His activities were traveling everywhere. And sometimes the common people may misunderstand the activities also. Just like in nowadays newspaper, some information may not be accurate. If it is coming through via media, information may not be accurate, newspapers or internet or whatever. At the time also the same thing happened with ordinary people. The pastimes of Krishna also were little bit, confused amongst ordinary people. Even at that time, the parampara is important, the shastra is important. So we can have full information about the scriptures, about what the pastimes of Krishna are. See? So this discussion about Krishna's personal form is prerogative only of his devotees who are constantly discussing about it. And that is the reason why we try to discuss as much as we can on Wednesdays. We don't have to give a class on Wednesday. Otherwise, on Saturdays, we have to give classes, we'll prepare, and we give a class. We discuss about Krishna. Generally, it's one-way communication. Sunday, we got mix of both. But Wednesday, it is common. We're discussing about this. It is all devotional service, all bhakti yoga. And we pray to our Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, to God Nitai, to Sri Radha Krishna. If they are pleased, then Krishna will accept our bhakti. So, this point is very important. There is personal form which is readily available for everybody. It is this form which attracts those who want to be attracted. And it attracts the people in different ways. By mercy of Guru Maharaj and Krishna, we'll discuss this point on this Sunday. how different people are attracted to Krishna in different ways. And how Krishna attracts to himself and how Radharani attracts to Krishna. You see? So, although the translation is fairly simple, straightforward to say that then Sanjay said, O king, speaking thus, the Supreme, the Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. So very straightforward translation. And Srila Prabhupada has kept the purport away for us to realize, discuss amongst ourselves, and meditate upon from his different other verses and lectures, discussion about his universal form and his personal form. Yeah? Yes. I think anyone wants to say anything else before we conclude? Please feel free. Okay. Anyone has any questions? Okay. Oh, well, we hope that everybody contemplates on these points, thinks about it for preparations before the Wednesday class. Only then it will be very beneficial. It is for our personal sadhana. If we study, if we prepare, if we listen, if we discuss, it is for our personal sadhana, not for anybody else's. And it is our sadhana which Krishna, Hare Krishna, and it is our sadhana with which we are going to trying to attract Krishna. Okay. Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki. Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Jai.
Jai.
Chaitanya Charitamrita ki. Jai.
Jai.
Srila Gurudev ki. Jai. Word to word
Jai.
synonyms, translations and purpose of Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai.
Jai.
Krishna gods and their Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Prabhu. Hare
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare.
Hare Krishna.